My name is Roni Moya, immunologist from the European Wellness Academy Group. Today I would like to show one of the most advanced nanotechnology known called STF Peptide Immunotherapy. The peptides are short chains of 20 or less amino acids that can induce or inhibit biological effects. Peptides can control gene expression and protein synthesis and preventing changes that cause aging and disease. The peptides therapy is a natural treatment that aims to regenerate the cells and tissues at a highly specific and effective low dose. Let's see what's the terms of the immunotherapy. Immunotherapy has focused on mechanisms that can enhance the development of cellular immunity. So the focus here is to modulate the immunity response against the aggressors with a very specific amount of small molecules that call peptides. Okay? The peptide transfer factors are leukocytes lysate peptides. And the idea is to activate the cell-mediated immunity. Let's see in the draw the super transfer factor mechanism. Imagine that you have an aggressor, an antigen, the virus here. It has to overcome the membrane layer and infect a cell. By doing that, it will trigger a response of innate immunity. The phagocytosis will happen at the first time. So mastocytes, macrophages will come there and will phagocytize the virus. Once it's phagocytized, the virus's molecules will be released to trigger the second response of the immunity, which is the natural killer immunity. The natural killers are cells made in the bone marrow, but not passing through the thymus. They are faster than the T cells, they are semi-specific, and they will guarantee the first good immunity against the virus. So it's very important to have the natural killers as fast as they can. So the natural killers will come and will recognize those viruses molecules and will release also specific cytokines. The cytokines and the virus's molecules will be already the resultant of the cell-mediated immunity. This mix of those molecules will produce the actually transfer factors. The transfer factors are the substances that come from the virus's cells and the immune cells. This group here will be stimulating the coming back of the other innate cells and also the specific cells. Let's see here. In this way, the antigen will be presented by the MHC, major histocompatibility complex, to the Th1-CD4 cells, which are T helper cells. The T helper cells will recognize the virus cells and will also release cytokines and more aggressor molecules to function as signaling molecules to bringing back other cells like the TCD8 cells, CD8 suppressor cells, T regulatory cells, and by doing so, the viruses will be killed by the killer factors and will trigger the memory cells activation. So the B cells, through this antibody, EGM and EGG, will go there, recognize the virus, and also release cytokines. All these cytokines are members of the cell-mediated immunity. So the cytokines and viral peptides together will become the transfer factors. Every single signaling molecule that comes there to destroy the virus and can activate the immunity are called transfer factors. Here, the production is very easy to understand. You have the antigen stimulation, so the virus will be inoculated into the rabbits. Those rabbits are ecological, European certified. and therefore it will be the cell clone activation. That activation will trigger the molecules from the CD4, CD8, natural killers, Tregs, B cells, suppressor cells, and etc. After you have all those molecules in the system, the purification of the transfer factors will come. So this stimulation of the transfer factors depend on the first inoculation, the first infection of the rabbits. Those rabbits will trigger the cell-mediated immunity, and by doing the clone activation, a lot of molecules will be released and then can be purified into transfer factor stimulation. This purification is in nanomolecules, 10^-9 molecules, very small molecules, smaller than a virus itself, and this purification of the transfer factors will be put in the vial. This vial is the nano-organelle peptide purification vial called super transfer factor vial. So in summary, the super transfer factors is a mix of the released signaling molecules from the CD4, CD8, natural killers, B cells, Treg cells, suppressor cells, cytokines like interleucin 2, interferon, tumor necrosis factors, and others. Everything can trigger and boost the immunity, the natural immunity, without any side effect. Here you have a table with the main characteristics of the peptide immunotherapy and the super transfer factors. So the molecular weight is minus than 3,000 Daltons. The molecular size is minus than 3 nanometers. The source are the fetal rabbits, remember, European state certified. And the application can be very multivalent, like sublingually, you can drink the super transfer factor, intramuscular injection, and subcutaneous injection. The STF is pure, no pathogenic, no chemicals, no preservatives, 100% natural. It's really in low dose, and the objective here is to modulate the immunity, the natural immunity, to enhance the natural killers, the CD4, the CD8, the B cells itself. The own body, the patient's own immunity have to be enhanced to come there and destroy all the aggressors. Here you have the very easy protocol. Remember, the STF can be used against all the aggressors. So we have viruses, allergy, cancer, bacteria, fungus, parasites, autoimmunity, independently of the aggressor. If it's acute or chronic inflammation, the STF will function because those resulting signaling molecules will teach the body how to defend naturally. This is the beauty of the treatment. So here you have the vial, 2.5 milliliter in 10 vials, a box with the 10 vials, 1200 milligrams. And the protocol, the normal, mainly protocol, is to use 1 to 3 vials per week during 4 weeks. So what you do? You tell your patients to drink sublingually outside the meals, it's better. From 1 to 3 times a week, depending on the infection. If the patient is already very sick, it's good to begin with 3 vials per week. Once 2 days, for example, you drink Monday, Wednesday, and Friday 1 vial. Just wait a little bit to dissolve and absorb well. And then after 4 weeks, the treatment is finished. Let's see, you can begin with 3 vials in the first week and decrease to 2 vials in the following weeks until finishes the box. You can start with more vials per week and diminish the vials step by step. Okay, it doesn't depend on the amount of the vials, depend on the releasing of those transfer factors in the body. It's good. One vial is already very good. But normally the protocol would be from 1 to 3 vials, depending on the grade of the infection, during 4 weeks. Afterwards, you just have to keep 1 vial per week for 10 weeks. It's like a follow-up to enhance actually the memory cells. It's better to make a support of the immunity by doing another box for more 10 weeks. This is the treatment. It functions with all the normal infections, bacteria, viruses, to prevent cancer and also to be integrated with the other classical immunotherapy. Remember, this is not a virus, this is not a bacteria, this is not an antibody. Those are signaling molecules that will be used to trigger the immunity, the natural immunity, so it can be integrated with no side effects. So, as you see here, there is no side effects and long-lasting immunity boosting. Those cell-mediated molecules will guarantee the releasing of a good process of immunity cells during a long period, long time. And it's also very interesting because as you activate the immunity very fast, you have an earlier response and a very early also peak of activation. Those natural killers, those phagocytoses that happens there in the mechanism will also be very, very well done, very well produced and very fast. In 24 to 48 hours, you have the peak of the activation with just the first vial. Imagine afterwards doing the continuation of the treatment. So the benefits are several. You have the immune activation, pathogens early recognition and elimination, hyperreactivity modulation in terms of allergy, for example, or autoimmune diseases, and is also function as anti-aging. You know that older people have weakness in the immunity. Immunity is the basis of a good longevity. Remember that. You don't have to treat your patients already infected. You have to prevent the infection. You have to enhance the immunity. It's the base, my friends. You have to guarantee the longevity of your patients by doing an immunotherapy. So here we have some articles, very interesting articles. This article here is a preparation and identification of the transfer factor for the Staphylococcus aureus. So for every bacteria, every fungus, every parasites, you can have transfer factors, right? Here you see that they have several weeks, 5 weeks, inoculations of the immunogen, and then you have the peaks of the immunity. You can see very easy when they infect and also they use the transfer factors, the peak of the immunity is really higher. Here you have the infection of, for example, with the transfer factors. It's really different when you see the leukocyte adhesion with the infection of the STF or without. Let's see a little bit further. The STF immunotherapy was similar to a vaccination, except the recipient was never exposed to the pathogen and had none of the side effects associated with the vaccination. So no time delay when integrated with vaccination. Immunity was obtained almost immediately. This is the interesting way of the mechanism from the super transfer factors. You have their molecules. The molecules won't give the patients side effects. It will just boost the natural immunity. Those are regulatory peptides, as I told in the beginning of the video conference. So, my friends, my name is Roni Moya from European Wellness Academy. I'm here for you. I see you the next time. Thank you.